start things off in the nation's capital with the Florida Panthers being visitors here, taking on Washington. Washington plus 100 here. Florida short favorites, total at 6.5, shaded slightly towards the under here in this one. Carmine, I'll go straight to you for your thoughts here. What do you think, Panthers and Capitals?
Yeah, it's interesting on this one, Andrew, because this is another one of the ones where you look at the number the night before, and Florida opens up at minus 135, and I thought, while I like this Florida team, they played a bad one in St. Louis, but I'm going to pin that one directly on Spencer Knight. He looked absolutely terrible in goal after. Bobrovsky the night before looked very good. So maybe St. Louis caught them on a back-to-back, but I think it was more the fact that Spencer Knight just did not play well. And I think Bobrovsky's going to probably get a lot of the action here on out because they need points and they need wins. I'm not necessarily looking at taking a side or a total in this game because, Andrew, I think this one is a coin flip. I cannot find a winner in this game. And sometimes when you can't find a winner, you'd go elsewhere. And I've talked about the fact that Florida are looking a lot more like they did last season, where they're getting a ton of pucks on goal, and consequently they're scoring a lot more as well too. Look at their shots on goal, and this is, I think, their last 10 games or so: 36, 34, 45, 42, 49, 37, 48, 39, 35. That's a lot of shots on goal. And you know what happens when you have a lot of shots on goal? The player props hit. Aaron Ekblad, someone who I gave out on the show, and I think to my clients, he has gone over his number. His number's at 2.5. You have to lay a little bit of juice. Well, actually, not a little bit of juice. You have to lay 150. But Aaron Ekblad, his last 9 games, 3-5, 6-5, 3-5, 5-5, and 4. This guy has gone over the total, and I just read you the the Florida shot numbers. One has to do with the other. You're getting shots on goal. Your players are getting shots on goal. We talked about it with the Sabres game last night. I see the same thing tonight. I think Florida's going to get a lot of shots on goal. Whether they win or not, I don't know. But if Ekblad goes over the total, that's good enough for me. Ekblad over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 150 is how I'm looking at this one. I'll leave the coin flip to Bryan if he's got one. Bryan?
Well, after I just said I don't do things, I don't have many things that I take a look at. I do take a look at this, and this is what kept me off of this. Is I did look at Florida, and I thought about using Florida. And then I read the news about Ovechkin's father and how he had an effect on the team. He's been there forever. Everybody on the team knows him. Now his father's passed away. And I think that may be one of the reasons why this line is taking some Washington money. I expect Washington to come out with a real strong effort in that regard. They played well last game. They came up short, but they were the better team. So Washington, I'm not going to stand in their way tonight because of the death of Ovechkin's father. And I think they get the victory. But from a strict handicapping standpoint, the line is cheap on Florida. And that's why. So I'm wishing the best to he and his family. Lost my father a couple of years ago, lost my mother right before that. So it's very telling and it's really emotional. So I would expect an emotional effort out of the Washington Capitals tonight.
And it's an extremely, extremely hard time for everybody, and I'm sure that he's got not just teammates but brothers on his team that are there for him and with him, and guys he's played with for many, many years. And like you mentioned, Bryan, that his father was around the locker room, was around the team. He held the Stanley Cup the night that they won it, so he definitely had a huge impact on that team, and of course on Ovi's life. For me, and when I look at this game, guys, the Washington Capitals, actually, their games have gone under in 5 of their last 7 games. And I know the Florida Panthers, it's hard to pick unders with their games. I understand that. But the last time I picked an under was on this show against Minnesota. The game ended 2-1. That was following a 5-3 loss against Colorado. I have this Florida team pegged as a team that, off kind of bad losses, I want to look for more of defensive performances. And whether we think or not, this Capitals team is just a much weaker offensive team without Alexander Ovechkin. He might not be the same guy he used to be, but he still has that powerful shot. He brings a lot to the power play. He stands there in the slot and he makes a difference. Even if he's not scoring, he's still a big distraction, guys. I feel like that does hurt the scoring ability for the Capitals. So I think for the Panthers, it'll be a huge emphasis on defense in this game. And I'm not really sure the Capitals will be able to put up big goals in bunches. And as far as the Panthers go, they need to start winning more games like the one they won against Minnesota, which was 2-1. So I'll look towards under 6.5 here in this one for my selection, Capitals and Panthers.